Good morning, third graders. I'm going to read the next book in our series study titled A Seed is Sleepy by Diana Hutz Aston and illustrated by Sylvia Long. You'll notice some similarities to a few of the other stories that we've read already. The ink and the watercolor illustrations you'll notice the script or the fancy writing at times, primarily in the heading area and the information that's provided. The captions are normally in regular font, I've noticed. This is an expository nonfiction book. The author is teaching us through information. It's introducing the reader to a variety of seeds and how they are dispensed or dispersed or scattered around in order to grow new plants. It makes you think of seeds in a different and a new way. There are beautiful illustrations. There are also many nonfiction text features in here. There's diagrams, captions, as well as our illustrations. And even though it is nonfiction, we have to remember we cannot judge a book by its cover. Even though these are drawings, it's still nonfiction. We're learning information and we're being taught something. The author's purpose is to inform us in this case. You will note a poetic style as well in some of the writing. And how it's flowing and using different adjectives and terms to help explain. So, without further ado, we'll get started. And I do have some wonders and notices that I'll stop and pose questions and whatnot per usual. So, here we go. First one we'll stop at is our end papers. And just like in An Egg is Quiet that showed the patterns of the eggshell on the beginning pages, take a peek at these. What do they remind you of? Have you ever seen any seeds like this before? Reminds me of dandelion seeds. And here we have another gallery. So remember that a gallery is a place where art is gathered and displayed. Just like Mrs. Bacon's area down in the old gym by the art room, when we put out your artwork, it is turning into an art hallway gallery. So these are all seeds here at the beginning. Some seeds you might be familiar with: corn, sunflower, Japanese maple, perhaps. Milkweed, maybe you're familiar with milkweed. A seed is sleepy. This book also talks a bit about personification. It is giving seeds or objects such as that very human-like characteristics and qualities. Just like in this heading, a seed is sleepy. Can a seed really be sleepy? Okay, so that's how it's very poetic as well with the personification. So here we go. A seed is sleepy. It lies there tucked inside its flower, on its cone, or beneath the soil, snug, still. So this is a sunflower, and here are the seeds making their way in the earth to plant new plants. A seed is secretive. It does not reveal itself too quickly. In our caption, most seeds sleep through a season or two, waiting for warmer temperatures of spring, but some take their time. 10 years might pass before the bright red-orange seed of the Texas mountain laurel shows its purple blooms. This is an interesting diagram because it starts off with a Texas mountain laurel pod, okay, where the seeds are snug and safe and secretly hiding in there. They quickly reveal themselves, or the seed comes out, finds its way into the ground, food, water, sunlight, and like 10 years or so might go by before the beautiful flower is shown for us. So this is a nice demonstration of the cycle of the life cycle of the Texas mountain laurel pod. The seed is fruitful. 90% of plants on Earth are flowering plants. Flowering plants produce fruits, fruits of all shapes and textures that keep the seeds cozy until they have found the right place to grow. So we usually think of fruit as something that we eat, but not all fruit can be eaten. And all fruit produces seeds, whether it's edible or not. We've got the strawberry, the papaya, the Texas barberry, blueberries over here. A seed is naked. Yes, naked. A scientists call gymnosperms, or seeds that aren't clothed in fruit, naked seeds. Most naked seeds hide themselves on the scales of cones until they're ready to make a dash for the ground. So it's interesting that not all seeds come from fruits, but why do scientists call seeds not from fruit naked seeds? Right? They hide themselves in the scales of cones, but they're not hidden and protected inside of pods. Well, who would have guessed that a seed as small as a freckle would grow into the world's tallest tree? Only 10% of redwood trees begin as seeds, though most redwood trees spring from existing trees. And this is a neat illustration over here showing just how big the redwood tree is. This is a person down here, and this is a coast redwood, 50 feet, 100 feet tall, 150 feet tall, all the way up to 350 feet tall. So the person versus the tree. They are gigantic. Seeds come in many sizes. The orchid seed is the smallest of all. There might be 1 million seeds in one pod. So here's the pod opening up, and you can see all of the white scattering about. Those are all the seeds. The seeds of the Coco de Mapon is the largest. It can weigh up to 60 pounds. A seed is adventurous. It must strike out on its own in search of a less crowded place to put down its roots. And this is beautiful imagery. A parachute of fine silky hairs can take a dandelion seed 100 miles from its parent plant. Do these look familiar? They were on our end pages at the beginning. And over here we have the milkweed seeds, and then the Japanese maple. Here's the leaf, and here's the seed that helped create the tree that made those leaves. Drift seeds float on ocean currents from one shore to another. They have enough air inside to help them float, and their thick protective shells keep out seawater. These are pretty. We have Mary's bean. This one is titled the hamburger bean. Doesn't that seed look like a hamburger? The coconut, the sea coconut, black palm, and this is called monkey's comb, hog plum. A seed is inventive. To find a spot to grow, a seed must leap from its pod, or cling to a child's shoestring, or tumble through the belly of a bear. A seed hopes to land where there is plenty of sunlight, soil, and water. And I want to pause there for one moment because it says that a seed might tumble through the bear's belly. And that's meaning that a bear is eating the berries and the plants. It's pooping out the seeds called scat, and it's therefore helping to spread these plants around. So the seeds can either hop from the pod, they can catch onto something, they can travel through animals and animal scat. I don't know if I'd call that seed transfer from a bear to the ground adventurous or inventive. Hmm. A seed is generous. It gives the baby plant or embryo a seed coat to keep it warm. And this is interesting because of the different diagrams on this page. We've got this one is a picture of a bean. So it's going across this way, showing us a bean seed at 2 days, 4 days, a week, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Down here, how about a pumpkin? Pumpkin seed, 4 days, a week, after 2 months, after 3 months of growth, after a month of growth. This one's interesting down here, the teak. So we have the teak seed. This is after 4 days, after a week, 10 weeks, a year, and you go all the way down. This is 100 years it takes for the teak tree to get to that point. An embryo's first meal comes from its seed leaves, or cotyledons. Seeds with one silk leaf, like corn, are called monocots, but seeds with two seed leaves, like beans, are called dicots. We have the seed coat is the brown on the outside of our bean. We have the seed leaf on the inside, the light green. The root is this white part. And then we have the shoot. We have two little branches coming off of our shoot. Some seeds are ancient. Not all seeds are eager to germinate. Some have lain dormant or slept undisturbed for more than 1,000 years. The oldest seed known to sprout came from an extinct date palm tree. After it was unearthed from a long ago king's mountaintop palace in Israel, scientists planted it. 4 weeks later, it sprouted. And I just want to point out how sometimes authors are helping you learn new vocabulary. Like this part right here, it says some seeds have lain dormant. I don't know what the word dormant means, but if I read on, the author has told me the definition. Some seeds have lain dormant or slept undisturbed for more than 1,000 years. So what does dormant mean? Slept undisturbed. A seed is thirsty and hungry. Once a seed has shed its coat, it drinks in the rain, the dew, and yesterday's icicles. It feasts on minerals in the soil. And over here we have a bean, and part of the seed, the root, feels the tug of gravity and digs down deep. It sheds the outer layer, and as it's reaching for the sun, it starts to grow. Right here we have corn. Another part of the seed or the shoot is sensitive to light, so it reaches for the sun. So here we've got the root digging deep, and the shoot is what is going up into the sun. A seed is clever. It knows to seek the sunlight, to push itself up, up, up through the soil, but it must wait a while before that happens. Plants make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. Inside plant leaves are cells. So inside of here, these tiny little cells, and they contain chemicals that absorb sunlight. Light gives them energy they need to turn water and carbon dioxide, which is the gas we breathe out that's in the air, into food. The little cells in here take sunlight and turn it into energy and absorb water from the roots, and they make their own food mixed with the gas that we breathe out, carbon dioxide. Pretty neat. A seed is sleepy, but only until it has found a place in the sun and it has had its breakfast and a drink of water. Then the seed is awake. And it's interesting how the author and illustrator have worked together to create such beautiful pictures. But here we have a sunflower awake. Remember at the very beginning, we had a seed is sleepy, and it was a sunflower dying, but the seeds were getting ready to grow a new plant for rebirth. So here we have a seed is sleepy, and then we have the seed awake as a sunflower in full bloom. We continue on and check out this gallery here. This time, this gallery is all of plants, which is making a connection to our gallery at the beginning. So for instance, we have the Japanese maple over here. At the end, we have the Japanese maple here. So all of these seeds correspond to plants in the back of the book, which is pretty awesome. Our book ends with endnotes and papers. Oops, with our dandelion seeds floating around to find a place to settle in and grow some new plants. All right, thanks, gang.